Hi, Aria. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you very much for your
Good.
time.
Yeah,
And
thanks
what
for
time
having
is
me.
and what time is it there in Florida?
It is 9:02 p.m. right now.
9:02 p.m. Right. There must be like what time is it here? Is it 11 a.m. in the morning here in the next day? So, have
Ooh.
you ever been to Australia before?
No, I really, really want to. It's like literally top five of places I want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Mm.
Always welcome to come down. So tell us. With the pandemic and with everything that's been happening, are you staying safe? Are you and your family? Everything all going well?
Yeah, everything's been pretty well where I live. It hasn't been a massive outbreak as compared to a place like New York City, where
That's
it's been horrible.
yeah.
But here in Florida, I've been safe. Luckily, my family and friends are safe. Unfortunately, my boyfriend and I were talking earlier, and he thinks his mom might have it, which is kind of
Oh no.
sad. But yeah, she is a flight attendant for a living, so she can get it really easily.
Oh wow.
So
Out
yeah,
of
that's as close as it's been to me, I guess.
yeah, right. Out of all the people that I know, I think that's the first time that I've actually heard somebody's actually had it that's known somebody. Wow, that's well. I hope.
Yeah, might have it. She's still got to get like tested and stuff, but is apparently very sick. So
Right.
I don't know. She lives in Los Angeles, so it's not like I've seen anything, but yeah.
Yeah. And for you, work-wise, what have you been doing in this period? Like, did you have to
Nothing.
nothing? Did you have to
A couple photo shoots.
yeah, right. And did you have to
Mhm.
reschedule? Did you have like wrestling events on in this time?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Especially during WrestleMania week, I had quite a few things I was gonna do, but
Right.
that all got swept away. And it's so weird having like an empty calendar and free weekends and stuff like that, and not
Yes.
putting like miles on my car and wear and tear on my body. But I mean, I think in Florida, we're one of the more open states right now. It's kind of going back to normal. Places are still at limited number of capacity, like 50%, 60, 75. I'm not sure what we're at right now. But so some venues are going to allow shows at, I think the end of June is like the earliest. I've seen some here.
Right.
Uh, I don't know how that's going to work. I'd love
Yeah.
like no shade, but I'm just like, I don't know how you can cap it with including wrestlers and crew and building staff and then fans and stuff. So it's
Yes.
interesting, but I'm glad that we're slowly kind of getting back to normal here. But I'll let
Agree.
other people test the waters first.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think AEW and WWE you sort of push through it, no break. And I see that they're slowly starting to get sort of some people in the crowd there, sort of are
Yeah.
watching it. So, well, let's hope. And that's obviously stopped the independent sort of circuit as well. They just shut it all down.
Yes. Pretty much those two places and Impact Wrestling are the only places I know that are still running right now.
Right.
Yeah, there's no independence. There's nothing. My last independent show was and or my last show in general was
Mm.
the end of February in Atlanta, and then after that, I was supposed to be in Tennessee the following weekend, in Louisiana, and like all over the Southeast. But as it started getting worse, I was like, I think I'm gonna calm down on these bookings. So I had to tell the promoters like, hey, it looks bad. I'm not gonna come out. And then everything got canceled right after. So
Right.
yeah, there's been no independence, just TV companies, I think, for the most
Right.
part.
And what were your plans for the WrestleMania sort of during that time? Did you say?
I thing I was looking forward to the most was a scramble match I was in for Fest Wrestling.
All
And
right.
Fest is like one of my home promotions in Florida. Oops, hold on, gotta get yes, sorry, that was my boyfriend.
That's
Um, I was really looking forward to that show. It was going to be in a big venue, and the coolest part about that weekend was it was in Tampa, and I live in Clearwater, which is just a bridge drive over. So I
right.
was so looking forward to like having international friends come stay with me.
Yes.
Doing all types of shows, even just seeing the different kind of shows. Like, and if I could have gone to WrestleMania, that would have been fun too, of course.
Yes.
But it's just such a bummer.
Yeah.
So that was what I looked forward to the most. But I can't even remember what else I had. A couple different things. Mostly just excited to go to shows.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So yeah. Well, and do you have other or the events that you have cancelled? Have they been rescheduled now for like later in the year, or it's just still wait and see?
I think it's still wait and see right now. Some of them, like I know that there would have been probably like one other fest show between now and when it all started, so that probably will be rescheduled. Hopefully, like end of summer is when they usually hold the next event. So maybe we can aim for around there. But yeah, I don't really have any information on like shows being rescheduled for specific dates, because like even with my out of state bookings, like I don't know what levels of reopening they're at yet. They could be at zero capacity, they could be at stay home, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's hope that it all gets back to normal, like you said, and you can get back into into your wrestling.
I miss it.
Yeah, I think you get a bit more appreciation now for for the whole wrestling and wanting to get out there and traveling and yeah. So
even just an appreciation for hanging out at shows, like
yes,
just and the camaraderie of like fellow wrestlers, friends from across the state, the country, whatever. Just I feel like a lot more grateful for all of it.
Yeah, definitely. So, Aria, you are currently signed with MLW. Are you still signed with MLW? No? Oh.
It just ended in March, so during all of this, yeah.
Right.
But no, I am a free agent right now for the first time in 2 years.
Right. And just going back into your career, you've wrestled with quite a lot of independent, companies. Is that something that you can still do? I know that you can still do that. You don't really need like a manager or an agent to sort of do that. Is that something that you want to do in the future?
I love independence, and like that's like my first love because it's where I started. But I'm definitely more interested in, like, I have such a love for TV production. It's like something I actually went to college for a little bit in my education.
Right.
So I, in general, just love TV production and wrestling TV production. So to be in those environments is comfortable for me. I learned so much from them. So, I mean, I love the independence, but I am definitely looking for something, I guess, a little bit more high quality products, I guess, like TV products, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I'm just doing a bit of a search yesterday and the day before, and it says rumors, I don't know if it's true or not, that you may be signing with NXT. Is that I saw this on so that might be just a bit of a something you don't know. It's new to you.
I don't know that. Yeah, no, I've heard that before, and I was like, I was under contract with MLW at the time, but if there's anything new, I literally have no idea. This is the first time I've heard of it. But no, I don't have anything my way right now. I mean, especially during virus time, I don't think really contract season right now. But to be clear, I've never even had a tryout, so I don't know about all that getting a contract. Yeah, so no. I mean, I'm not saying don't rule it out. Like if it's coming my way, awesome. Like legitimately coming my way. But to my knowledge, I'm not.
Yeah, but isn't NXT isn't that based in your area, in that Florida sort of area?
Yeah, it's in Orlando. So Orlando to Clearwater is about like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'd say. So yeah, it's close.
Okay, so let's go back way back. So you actually born in Clearwater, is that correct?
Yes.
born and raised in Clearwater. And did your parents or did your family have any involvement with wrestling, or was this something that you sort of just picked up on yourself?
I got into it because my younger brother at the time was a fan. So I was 14, I think, and he was 11. So he was really into it and watched Raw and SmackDown and TNA. So
Yes.
one day I remember I just like was in his room and he was watching wrestling and I saw a Divas match and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like I had seen like female wrestlers before, but I hadn't seen them being like Maurice, Michelle McCool, Maria. I was like, wow, they're beautiful. They can kick ass. I was captivated. And then I remember seeing Jeff Hardy, and I was like, I love you. Like, instantly, I'm like, my favorite. And he still is my favorite ever. But, so that it caught my attention through my brother, and he grew out of it, and I just never did. And I've been watching it since late 2008.
Right. And when was that period? Like, did you start, going to the events? Did you start training? How did that all start? So you started watching it at a young age with your brother.
Yeah.
How did that progress from that stage?
So in high school, I knew I wanted to wrestle, but I was like, yeah, I'll go to college and whatever too. And I did. But there was FCW in Tampa at the time, and they had offered classes for beginners. So I was like, I want to do that. And as soon as like I had become of age is when they moved it to NXT Orlando, and that kind of went by the wayside. So I just went to school until one day I had noticed that there was a local wrestling company looking for a ring girl, and not like the type of ring girl that like holds up cards or whatever, but like this ring size, collects jackets, whatever have you. So I met with the owner of that company. I told him I wanted to get into wrestling. So this was a way to get my feet wet. Yes. And I did that for a little bit. Then one show, Jay Lethal was booked, and he had talked to the same guy that had brought me in as the ring girl. And they decided they wanted to collaborate and have a school together. And being that I was already there as a ring girl, I was like, hi, I want to be the first to sign up. So I was.
Come on.
That was early 2014, like January, I'd say. And then like the school officially became a thing, up and running in April of that year.
Right.
So when I started training.
And you said that he was your main trainer. It was Jay Lethal.
Yes. And then so I learned like the basics and everything with him. And then a little bit later on, Angelina Love came and became one of my other trainers.
Right. So did they have different sort of styles of training, or were you just there to like learn the basics?
I learned so much from them beyond the basics. Like Jay's a very, very good teacher. So we learned the basics kind of quickly. He explained them very well.
Yeah.
From her, I learned a lot about women's wrestling, obviously, but even just like motherly advice is something I got from her that I couldn't get from any guy. But they both were really good trainers. They weren't hard asses about anything. They weren't there to prove that they're vets and they have been doing it so much longer. They actively wanted us to get better, wanted to see our improvements, went to our shows, all of that stuff. So they were great trainers.
That's awesome. Even to go to your show and get like feedback on how you went. Yeah.
Like we have a new company now. Like that initial company just doesn't run anymore. So now it's Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling. Right. So Jay will wrestle some of the guys on that show, like in their first matches. So that's really cool for the students too.
Right.
Like really into it.
And you see with like the WWE how they really put them through the ringer with the training and was it like that as well, or was it like a comfortable sort of?
I don't think anything is like that, but it was definitely like I remember one time Jay was like, "I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not here to like make you do crunches or jumping jacks or whatever. If you want to be fit and ready for this, like you do it on your time." Yes. So that was something I really respected initially. I was like, okay, we're literally here to wrestle. We're not here to do blow ups just to do them. We're here to get our minds right for when we're actually in the ring. Right. So that was really different, I'd say, is we had more of approach to literally wrestling, not, physical fitness on top of it.
Yeah, right. And what did you say what was your major when you went to college?
Mass communications, and I minored in sociology.
Right. So is that something that you want to do in the future, or is that just sort of,
I mean, like, if wrestling is shut down forever, like it is right now, probably going to do it, probably going to use my degree. Yes. But I used it briefly when I graduated, and then I was like, I had like a social media management job, and it was okay, but it just didn't work out. So it gave me more time for wrestling, and then MLW happened like right after. So it was like by fate, I had to just like go full into wrestling. Yeah. And that's how it's been ever since. But I wouldn't be opposed to using my degree one day. I don't know what to do with it right now.
Yeah. Come on, you're still young. You still got plenty of,
I know.
Yeah,
well,
that's the thing.
Also like there's no jobs right now kind of because of the virus.
Yeah.
So that's kind of making it hard. Like, so I just have like my own blog right now. Like I still maintain like a journalistic aspect of myself. So
yes.
Yeah, I have that at least.
Excellent. So you've done your training with the two trainers, and then how long were you in the training for, and then when was your sort of first official match?
So like I said, started in April 2014, and then my first match was a student battle royal January 2015.
A student battle royal.
Quite a few months. Yeah, it was awesome. It was the first two classes we had. So like the four of us from our first class, and then like 5 guys from maybe more than 5, 6, 7 guys from the second class. And it was really fun. Myself and Aspen Rose were the only females. Right. But it was so fun. And looking back, it's like those are my best friends and like the people I started with.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to have that memory with them and literally start together in the same match.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That's so cool. And do you still keep in contact with those wrestlers now?
Oh yeah. Out of them, I talk to Hunter Law the most because we have dogs together.
Right.
He's my ex, but he's also one of my best friends. I still talk to Troy Hollywood like every day and Snoop Strike. And unfortunately, one of the students in that match passed away since. So it's something that like brought us even closer and more bonded together. So I keep in contact with all of them as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so you had your first match. So were you sort of nervous at the time? Do you get nervous when you're in front of like a crowd? Like, so how long did it take you to sort of get used to sort of wrestling in front of a crowd, or you still get those little nerves, even now?
Still getting used to it. I still get really nervous. Like I have horrendous anxiety, and it depends on the day, I guess. There's some days where I feel more confident going into matches. There's some days where like right before the curtain, I'm like, I don't want to go out. I don't want, like my heart's beating a million miles. But then I get out there and it's like there's literally moments where I'm laying there and I'm like, I love this. I don't want this to end. So the anxiety is still pretty big, but yeah, when I remember being nervous, but more so excited my first match. So I was like, I finally get to show my parents what I had been doing and training at, because they didn't like, I'd show them clips from my training, but it was a whole different thing to see it in a match.
Yeah.
So I was really excited to be like, look, I had scissors and do all that stuff. So yeah, I still get this stuff.
So tell us about that. Tell us about how your parents sort of reacted when it was like, hey mom, hey dad, I want to be a professional wrestler. How was their reaction?
My dad thought it was cool. Like he was like, whatever, do your thing.
Yes.
But my mom was like pissed. She was like, why am I paying for you to go to college if you're just going to do this? I'm like, well, like I'm going to college because like that's a goal and all that. And I'm like, I know you want me to. So
yes.
I'm also going to do this. And was like not in favor of it. And any time I'd like be like, oh, I got to bruise or like, oh, I'm sore here or whatever, she'd be like, well, then stop doing it. I'm okay, no. But eventually when she, I guess, saw the work come out in matches,
yes,
understood that, okay, this is actually something I can do and something I can like live off of, really.
yes.
So she became a lot more supportive. I guess it's more understanding because like before that, she just didn't know a ton about wrestling. Like her dad had been a fan when like she was younger.
Yes.
But besides that, it was a big surprise to her.
And they're supportive of you now, like doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do they go to the matches still?
When they're in the area, sometimes they've seen me, I'd say like 5 times.
Right. Okay. And what about your brother? Did your brother go into the wrestling business, or he just a
No.
fan? Just a fan.
Not even just a fan.
He stopped watching in, I'd say maybe like a year after that when I started watching.
Right.
So, yeah. But he's seen a little bit. I don't know. He's just not really into it.
Yeah. Right. And so I've watched some of the matches on YouTube, and I've noticed that I don't even know, like maybe half of your matches, you're wrestling against men.
I know. On YouTube, and you type in Aria Blake versus, one of the things that come up is Aria Blake versus man.
So how do you feel about that? I mean, I've watched your matches, and you have no problem. Like you're just like one of the boys, and you just get in there, and so no problem, no pressure, no, the guys are all good, they're all fine.
I love wrestling guys because I started wrestling on guys pretty much. Aspen and I are the same size pretty much. So it would be very hard for us to, hit certain moves on each other because like we are literally tiny. We might not be able to support anybody, nonetheless each other. So learning on the dudes was just so much easier, more fun. They could hold me for all types of crazy lucha stuff, flips, whatever I wanted to do. I could learn on them because they could hold me up. So I love working with dudes just because I can do so much more. But a lot of that, I guess, goes back to fest wrestling and like the whole equal opportunity, like anybody can wrestle anybody there. Like it doesn't matter who you are, size, whatever have you. Like I've literally had my favorite and best matches there with guys. Yeah. I love intergender wrestling and I want more of it when we come back to wrestling.
Yes. And I saw one where it was the fans could bring in anything they want, and you could grab it, and there was like toilet seats, and it was so funny and so cool. Very it's original. I like it. It gives everybody a chance to have a bit of fun and all that. And I also had a couple of months ago, I had Zeta Zhang on the program as well. So have you had matches with her, or have you trained with her?
Yeah, we have wrestled like in wrestling schools in Florida, but like we've had, I think, one match in Atlanta. It was a 4-way with myself, Kylie Ray, Harlow O'Hara, and Zeta.
Right.
I won.
Come on.
Yeah. We wrestled in that. And then I don't think we've cosplay wrestled each other, but maybe one day. Because I know we've both done that. Like, I know she's been Chung-Li and I've been Kim Possible and Yoko Littner in the past when I had red hair.
Yes.
So maybe we can cosplay wrestle one day again when it resumes.
Yeah. She when I called her up, she was in Taiwan. She's still in Taiwan. Yeah, right. So, what was it like? Sorry, getting back to your family, sort of growing up. What was it like growing up in was it Clearwater, Florida?
Kind of.
I don't know too much about this area. So tell us a little bit about it.
It's the prettiest place. It is literally clear water. I was born in a hospital that's right next to the beach, so I was like born on the beach almost. But I lived there till I was 3, and then moved a couple miles north to Palm Harbor and lived there until I was 22-ish, I'd say. Yeah, right. 22. Then moved in with Hunter for a little bit, which was kind of in Clearwater. It was in Largo nearby, so I've always been in the same kind of area. Now I live in Clearwater again, but a different part of it, so it's kind of all I've known for the most part of my life. It's very beachy, very touristy. Not a lot of people are from here. A lot of people move here. Right. Like my dad's from Ohio. He's not even from here. My mom's from Tampa. But my brother and I were both born in Clearwater, and I love it. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to live here my whole life. I'm like, I love it, but I'm like, I think I'm ready for other stuff.
Yes. And have you done much traveling in your time, or have you with wrestling, or just by yourself? Like,
I haven't gone overseas yet, so that's a big goal that I was going to accomplish. In July, I was going to go to the UK and do a tour, but that is gone.
Right.
So I have to schedule that for some point. I don't even know if it's going to be this year. It might be next year. But yeah, that was going to be my international debut. But I've wrestled across mostly the Southeast, Chicago, been to Wyoming for MLW, New York City, Texas. But yeah, mostly the southeastern states. I mostly wrestle in Florida or Atlanta.
Do you have a favorite sort of independent sort of, or do you like sticking to like your area, or do you know, is Atlanta good? And so it used to be like the whole WCW area, so that's sort of like a good area, but
that is definitely a great area, and it's again one of my home promotions. So like that did so hard to say like which I like more, because they both have two unique things. Atlanta's like a family vibe for me, and then Fest is a party every time. It's the University of Florida, so our crowds are always drunk college kids who like might not even be wrestling fans. They just see that the bar in the middle of Gainesville is hosting a wild show with punk bands and all this stuff. So they come in and get rowdy with us, and they really amplify the show. But Atlanta is like my family, where I've come up the last like 4 or 5 years that I've been working for them, and I'm the champion there, so I really love it there.
Yeah, so you're going between like Tampa and how far is that away? Like I think I flew from Atlanta to Miami, and it was very short. It was only like maybe an hour and a half, not even that.
Well, I usually end up driving up to Atlanta because I'll have some stuff, so it ends up being on maps, it's like an 8-hour drive. It ends up taking like sometimes 9 or 10 with traffic, especially the Atlanta traffic. It's horrible. Yeah. But yeah, it's a little far. It's about as far as I will drive by myself.
Right. And when you're doing these independent, are you actually on a contract, or are you on like a per event sort of payment? I just don't know how the whole thing works.
Well, there's no like paperwork or anything. The only places that get into that are places that offer contracts, like your MLW, the Ring of Honor, Impact, NXT, blah blah blah. Right. But no, the independents are just, we are our independent contractors, so it's, you know, get an offer for a booking, agree upon a rate and the circumstances, and it's cool. You can be your own boss that way. Yeah. But yeah, it's easier, but it's also a little bit more complicated. You got to be on top of your stuff, your schedule, all of that. No one's doing it for you.
Now, have you ever had an agent do your bookings, or no?
The only people I know that have that are people that like are super busy with wrestling, and where literally their life like like when I get to that level, maybe I'll let somebody else deal with it, but I'm also like, I like to be on top of my own stuff, and I'm like really like just meticulous about it, so I don't know if I'd want one.
Yeah, right. And it's always an interesting question, like even when I'm watching wrestling now, you know, some of my friends or some of my family will go, "Oh, why do you watch that? It's so fake." So I want to ask you the question, like, what do you say to people that come up to you and go, oh, that's so fake, it's so phony, it's so, you know what I mean?
Like, I get what they're saying.
Yes.
To an extent. I mean, the physicality is real for sure. Like, I can't fake that I had shoulder surgery and have these scars from it, or I can't fake the neck pain I have every day. But I get what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that is performative. It's not like, we have a ball we're throwing back and forth. But it's not fake. It's not fake.
Yes. It's just interesting, like, you know who's going to win. But other than that, it could be anything, and the bumps and the bruises and the broken bones and the concussions that people are getting, that's not fake.
No, it's not at all. No.
So tell us about like speaking of that, like, tell us some of the injuries that you've had. I mean, I know that you had, like, was it a major surgery on your shoulder?
It wasn't like a full on like replacement or anything, but
right.
They had to go in. I have 2 scars here, 2 in my back, 1 on the side. They went in laparoscopically and fixed a bunch of tendons and stuff. My rotator cuff. I had bicep tendonitis.
I had one too.
Oh, no.
I had one on my left arm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my left. They had to stitch my labrum back onto the socket or whatever. I don't know. I was like drugged up when they told me everything that was wrong. So all I know is they did a lot on my shoulder and then some on my bicep. So that was the worst I've had. I got it by taking a German suplex, and my elbow had hit first, so it just popped like everything forward. And on top of that, I have extreme laxity in my joints due to a syndrome I have. So like my stuff pops out easily. Yeah. So it doesn't take a lot. And then I wrestled later another show that day. Then kind of worked around it, but still was hurting.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I kept wrestling more because I was like, it'll be. I didn't know what it was at the time.
Yeah, right.
I pulled a muscle or something because it wasn't like I had like this bone sticking up or anything. And like I said, I know I'm overly flexible in my joints. So what I can handle is a lot different than what the average person can handle. Yeah. So I didn't know it was that serious. So I kept wrestling, and then I got hurt again, basing a girl for a head scissors, and it like ripped. It felt like it ripped a little bit, like something like pulled. So then I took a longer break, did physical therapy, kept wrestling again, and eventually I just decided like this needs to be fixed. So almost a year to the day of when I got hurt was when I had surgery. It might have been like a day or 2 off, I think, but I got it fixed and took 6 months to recover.
Wow.
Tried to do it pretty fast because I wrestled on MLW and had like my first TV match when I came back. So that was like all my motivation to come back and get better and heal it.
Yeah. And did you have it? Have you had any sort of other injuries like this before?
In training, I like in 2015, I think. I was doing a springboard kick out of the corner, and when I landed, instead of my foot coming straight down like this, it went straight down like that, and I landed on like the side of my ankle. Yeah. So didn't break it. I severely sprained like the crap out of it, and it was purple, and it was like when I got hurt with my shoulder, I kept going, but like this was training, so I was able to just be like, I have to get out real quick. And I rolled out of the ring, and I could barely get my wrestling shoes off, but like my foot was huge. And I went to the hospital that night. I got a boot for it. I was on crutches, and that sucked. But it wasn't broken, luckily.
And do the independent companies sort of help you out, like with insurance or like the hospital bills or something like that?
No.
No.
I don't know what other companies do, but independently, no, it's your own. You take care of your own crap, pretty much. Luckily, I'm 25, so I'm still on my parents' health insurance here. But that next month, I turned 26, July 18th. So then I have to get my own insurance, and it's going to be real fun. So I'm going to try not to get hurt. Luckily, like, all my injuries are behind me. They happened before I turned 26, and I'm done now.
Yeah. And how do you sort of, like, with speaking about the injuries, how do you keep, like, your diet? Like, you on, like, a strict diet, like, when you're wrestling? How do you do it? Because you know, for some people it's very easy. They got good metabolism. Some people, you know, they can just eat something and boom. You know what I mean? So
so I'm a vegetarian, so that's a big part of my diet, and I have been one for, it'll be 7 years this summer.
Right.
But I've pretty much always been a vegetarian off and on before that, since like 5th grade. So that's always how I've lived, and I guess it's healthier. It is. No, I don't really follow any specific diet besides that. I pretty much eat whatever I want. And, like, I have a really, really fast heartbeat. So that, like, makes my metabolism go through the roof. So I'm really lucky, I guess.
Very lucky.
Yeah. No, I literally ate pizza last night.
Yes, I saw that you were eating pizza there in one of the after the matches. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I eat like graham crackers every day. That's my diet.
And then are you like a gym junkie as well? Are you in the gym every day, or just depending on?
I have my little workout set up over that way, and I have like a bench, weights, bands, yoga mat, pretty much everything I need, because in quarantine the gym closed, so I was just like, have everything I need for now. So I just like canceled my gym membership and work out here when I want. But I pretty much all day am doing something. Like, I'll get my big workout out in the morning, and throughout the day I'll stretch, do some yoga, like walk back and forth with like small weights and lift them and whatever. So I always stay active.
That's great. So I need to look at my notes now, because I only read up just a little bit about this. So you were talking about it before, how the flexibility of your so correct me if I say this wrong. Ehlers Danlos Syndrome.
Close, yeah. Ehlers Danlos Syndrome.
Ehlers Danlos. So this is the first time I've ever heard of this thing. And you know, I was going through your Instagram, and I also want to talk about your tattoos that you have as well. There you go. So for people the listeners that don't know about this, can you just explain a little bit about this?
Yeah, so it is considered a rare disease, so not a lot of people have heard about it. It is, the long and short of it is that my body cannot process the protein known as collagen. Collagen is very important for your skin, your joints, the fluid between your joints, all of that. So it gives me extreme joint laxity. I'm probably the most flexible wrestler on earth, because I'm the other wrestler that has this. I mean,
yes.
There's lots of girls that can split, but there's not a lot of people that can purposely dislocate their hip and put it back in with ease, or their jaw like I can, or
oh my God.
Like freaking my elbow goes all weird.
Right.
I spin it around. That's, yeah, but I can put my feet around.
So do you get born? Are you born with this, or does it just come? Right.
A genetic condition. I don't know which one of my parents' sides it runs on, because to their knowledge, neither of them have it. It could just be that they have the gene, but it's not that active in them. Right. But it is a genetic condition that is, you know, onset at birth, at life, I guess.
And is it curable, or is it like can it get like like I said, I don't know too much about it. I only just read it. Can you cure it? Is there some sort of medicine that you can use to you know, prevent this?
It is not curable, and it is not something you can prevent. So like like when my boyfriend and I have kids one day, there's a 50% chance they could have it. So it's like, it's not something that I could turn off for them, really. It's just our genetics. But it is, by itself, the worst part is, I'd say, the pain that comes with it. So there are things that people take, like there's 13 types of Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. I have type 3, which is hypermobility. So it's considered one of the least severe forms compared to some of the other types, where people are literally wheelchair bound or hospital bound and pass away earlier, have a lot more severe symptoms, all of that. But with my form, the pain is pretty much the worst part of the actual Ehlers Danlos, but there are comorbidities such as, like with my heartbeat, I have postular orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, it's POTS. And that is pretty much, if I went to stand up right now, because I've been sitting for a little while, I know that I would get really faint and have to like grab my desk, and my vision would be really spotty and go like almost like this, like in and out. But that's because my heart rate will rise and my blood pressure will drop. POTS causes me to not have good blood pressure, obviously, so I have low blood volume. All the blood kind of stays down in my legs, so it's not getting up to my brain, which is bad for like brain fog, brain blood barrier relations, my heartbeat again. So there's that.
Yeah, but like if you were to like I'm meeting you for the first time, there's no way in hell that I would be able to recognize, hey, you've got, you know.
Yeah, unless you knew to look for like my elbows, or like if I'm standing a certain way with my leg kind of weird, like, or I'm purposely bending my joints. Yeah. Could someone tell? Or the zebra, I guess is how a way somebody could tell, because it's the symbol for rare chronic illnesses. And there's a medical term, or not a medical term, a medical saying that's like, if you hear hoof prints, I think, hoof noises, whatever, think horses, not zebras. So when you're in medical school, you're taught to look for the more common diagnosis, then reach out for something more exotic. So the zebra is kind of like our validation that it's like, no, sometimes it actually is a rare disease, because a lot of us have a hard time getting diagnosed. Rare diseases like mine aren't widely studied. They require like what I like to call the doctors like super specialists, because like we're beyond like an orthopedic doctor or a cardiologist. We're on a integrated medicine specialist that has studied specifically what I have and operates a clinic and does trials and studies and all of this kind of cool stuff medically. But yeah.
And you know, it doesn't seem to like be like affecting your performance in the ring either. You know, you're running around, you're slamming men, you know, you're jumping off the top rope. You know, it doesn't seem like it's affecting you.
Yeah, well, that same doctor tells me it's literally the worst thing I can do on my body, because I think I'm throwing my already unstable joints on hard surfaces or at other people. But you know, I still do it anyway, like, because I don't care. Like, I'm so much a person that's like, I'll deal with it later. So like when I'm older and I'm in a ton of pain, we'll have new medical things that can help me, and I'll deal with it later.
That's right.
Yeah, so the doctor doesn't love that I wrestle, but I mean, here we are.
Yeah, that's right. And so you're with the MLW, you're wrestling all around, and all of a sudden, AEW comes up. Was it last year? The start of AEW? Last year, yeah. And all these wrestlers that you've been wrestling now with for a couple of years, and which I didn't see before, all of a sudden I've started seeing them in AEW, and it's like one of my favorite wrestlers at the moment is MJF. He is, you know, I don't know, you know, and this is going to be my question. What is he like outside of wrestling? Because we see him as this, you know, this guy, this egotistic maniac that but he's super good at it on the mic, and as a wrestler he's very, very good as well. So can you tell us a little bit about, because you were with him for quite a long time, you're working with him in matches and talking behind the scenes, so tell us about MJF.
He's okay. So I think that I have a much different take than most people because I know him a lot differently.
Yes.
So we have always been cool with each other. Like, we would always be like cute and flirty with each other. And then we started working together more, and I'm like, no, you're actually a really cool person. I learned a lot from him, like character-wise, I'd say. But I mean, what you see is still what you get. Yes. It's when there's a camera, of course, it's going to be slightly different.
Yes.
But he's MJF a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Different with me though, because and I'm sure me being a girl is different than how he's treating other dudes.
Yeah.
But we've always been cool. I haven't talked to him in a very long time, but he is cool. He kind of got my boyfriend and I together a little bit, so
right.
He's me for that. Yeah. So yeah, he's a cool dude. I like him a lot.
Yeah. And he seems to be going on and just very, very talented, and I think he has a very bright future as well. And speaking of which, has there been any sort of talks with you with AEW? I mean, I know you can't give too much away, but is that something sort of in the future that you'd be interested in? I mean, the people that and Joey Janella's wrestling there as well. You had a lot to do with him as well. Is that something that you'd like to do in the future as well?
Oh yeah, I would love to work in AEW.
Come on, Joey. Come on, MJF. Come on, let's.
Hi. I worked with so many of them, but that's so crazy too, is if you think about it, Aria Blake has dated 3 of them, because in FIP, Sammy and I were kind of together for a couple shows, but we would always play it up. And then with Joey and Max, it's Aria Blake knows some of them better than others. But I wrestled Brandy before, and that was really fun, so I just wanted to I needed.
Come on.
Yeah, but I would be grateful for anywhere really right now that would consider me, especially during these trying times.
Yeah, absolutely. And so your finishing move, everybody has a finishing move. Tell us about your finishing move.
So it is I have 2, so it depends on the situation.
Yes.
Number 1, which is the first one I came up with, is the Blake out, and it's just a big kick to the side of the head.
Right.
Similar to a chick kick.
Right. Yep.
Number 2, if I need it, if maybe that's not working for me, is it is a backstabber into a lotus lock, and then from there I'll just hold on and try to make them tap. But usually I do, and usually I get the win that way. So it depends if I want a knockout or if I want to make them tap.
Right. Okay. Excellent. All right. So, professional wrestler, let's move that aside. And also, if you go into any of your social medias, we will see hundreds and hundreds of beautiful, beautiful pictures of your modeling your career. So tell us about how that all started and what the plans are for the future with your modeling career. How did it all start?
So yeah, my Instagram is kind of laid out to purposely look like a portfolio, kind of.
Right.
But I love shooting in my spare time. Wrestling is my first love, and I'm always going to pick wrestling over writing, modeling, whatever have you.
Yes.
I started, I guess, just doing promo pictures for wrestling, and I loved it. And then some of the photographers would want to work outside of wrestling, hey, let's do a photo shoot. So I got some practice with them, and then eventually, I guess, got okay at it. And other photographers reach out to me on Instagram or on Backstage or other professional websites for modeling and want to shoot with me. So it's not like I do runway or anything crazy like that. It's just
Yeah.
mostly casual shoots with people that also want to shoot. So it's a fun hobby, I'd say.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing this? Longer than the wrestling, or did you say you started at the same time?
Probably like 5 years ago when I started having matches and thus needing promo pictures.
Yes.
Started meeting more photographers through wrestling first, and then kind of just grew, and being friends with Selena De La Renta. She was a model back in Puerto Rico. So like she would do more photo shoots and be like, hey, do you want to shoot with me? Do you want to shoot with me? So getting more comfortable, getting more practice in that way also helped.
Yeah, right. And being a writer as well. Tell us a bit about that as well. Like you have your blog as well that you're regularly updating as well. But tell us a little bit about your writing experience, background.
Oh man, I've been doing it for so long. I took my first journalism class in 9th grade. 10th grade, I joined newspaper, became an editor my senior year.
Yeah, right.
Went to college I got my associate's degree in mass communications and my bachelor's degree in mass communications. So I've done a lot of writing, a lot of mostly print media, article writing, newspapers, research articles, interviews. It's one of my first loves, I'd say. I like to it's kind of similar with wrestling, how we tell stories. It's just another way to tell stories. And I'm nosy and I like to know things. So I like to research and write about it. But yeah, I have a WordPress blog. It's blondejuly.wordpress.com. I updated it today, actually. There's a new article about some feminine stuff. So
very nice.
I want to give it away because I want people to go read it. So go see it. It's a Tom time. And yeah, I'm trying to get more into that as the quarantine's set in. I'm like, okay, I can't wrestle, so let's get back into blogging more, because it is something that like for a while was just a little bit of a nuisance. I was like, I don't want to write, like just wasn't feeling it, but I feel like I've had the spark kind of replugged and more of a love for it again. So I'm trying to keep up with it.
Yeah, right. So you're definitely keeping busy in this time, regardless of not wrestling. You're doing your modeling and your writing as well. So, what does the future hold for Aria Blake?
I don't know. Let's see. I want more dogs.
Yes. Now I've noticed that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your dog Cooper is it Cooper?
Yeah.
He actually has an Instagram page as well. Is that correct?
What a little wild man. Yeah, he does.
That's great.
And then I have my other 2 dogs on it too.
And where are your dogs? Are they out the back?
I have 2 of them are with Hunter right now. We share custody, and then I have one full-time, Axel, and he is on the ottoman chilling right now.
Right. All right. So future. So is like continue wrestling, modeling, writing.
All the same. I'm happy with what I'm doing right now, but I mean, when wrestling resumes, I mean, let's explore options. I'm down to, especially now that I'm a free agent for the first time in a while, and the landscape is a lot different now compared to where it was 2 years ago.
Yes.
So I can hopefully explore my options more as things open up and we resume normal life again. But yeah, I don't have any plans to slow down anytime, and still want to go overseas. Still need to do that. I need to go to Japan, England, Canada, Germany, Mexico, wherever I can. Australia, yes.
Yeah. Don't forget Australia.
Need to go there. Need to go there in New Zealand for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And we have like a good sort of independent scene down here as well. I think it's on. I don't know if it's still on cable TV, but we have. I live in Newcastle, which is just a couple of hours outside of Sydney, and we have our wrestling, independent wrestling here. So, and I know that there's one in Sydney as well. So it's here. So
wrestlers because like I follow some and they follow me and they're so nice.
Yes.
And like every time I see Australian women's wrestlers, they're always like working out or like eating something healthy and just like well,
yes, we're very, very laid back and just very casual and take everything as it comes, just easygoing. And I do believe Rhea Ripley, is she Australian? I'm fairly sure she is Australian as well. So it's good to see some of the Australian girls and men getting their opportunity in the US. I mean, you can only do so much here in Australia. If you want to make it, you've got to go. You've got to go to the US to, you know, follow your dreams. So. Is there any sort of promotion, any endorsements that you want to you have? I'm sure you have a long list of all your social medias that you want to talk about.
Yeah. So this is where I would tell you to go see like what shows I'm on, but we don't have those right now. So for the time being, my Instagram is TheAriaBlake. My Twitter is I'm Aria Blake, so they're different. And then I have patreon.com/TheAriaBlake where I post where you see my photo shoots first. I don't post everything to Instagram, so you can go see that. I have some blogs on my Patreon. I do giveaways every month. I mail out kiss cards, all types of goodies. So why not become a patron for $1 a month or to $100 if you really love me?
There you go.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about Cameo, because I don't think, sorry, not Cameo. Actually, I want to talk to you about Cameo as well. Patreon. Tell us a little bit about Patreon for people who don't know what that's about.
It is a paid subscription. You get content that is provided behind a paywall. So it depends on the creator how much. There's different tiers. If you pay $1 a month, you get this. If you pay $5, you get this. If you pay $10, you get more stuff, and as it goes. But it's an easy way to support independent creators and artists like myself. I think it's personally a way to get more direct access to us, because you know it's like your real fans. It's not some kind of trolls or anything. It's people that are literally paying to be there and support you, and it's a cool platform. I highly endorse it.
Yeah, and I was just saying before, Cameo as well. How did you get involved with Cameo?
They emailed me one day and said, "Do you want a cameo?" So I said, "Yeah." Yeah, it's pretty easy. I didn't know what it was before that, but then I'd signed. I feel like I have had it for like a year or two by now. So it's easy. You just tell me like, "Hey, I have my birthday next month, and can you say X, Y, Z?" I see a little script. I'll improvise, and then people get their video.
Have you had any stories about Cameo? Any bad experiences?
I don't think so, no. No, I can't think of any. No, I don't get as many as I would like. So guys, if you're listening, go order Cameo.
Come on.
Give me a weird experience to talk about.
All right. And just before we go, I always like to ask some quick questions, and you give me like a short answer.
Okay.
Are you ready to go?
Ready.
I've got a couple of questions. All right. Modern day wrestling.
Love it.
Love it. AEW.
Hire me.
WWE.
Hire me.
MJF.
Buddy friend.
Buddy friend. Joey Janella.
I love the Janella Zone lives on Instagram.
Joey Ryan.
Boobplex.
Zeta Zhang.
There's a funny picture of her looking at the ref, and I'm like behind her. So I can do that.
What are your top 5 female wrestlers?
Of all time?
Yes.
This is hard. Lita is like the love of my life. I met her once, and that's the first time I've been like legitimately starstruck. So Lita, AJ Lee, Chyna.
Yes.
That's 3. Charlotte. And this is so hard.
Trish Stratus.
No, I'm thinking Japanese wrestlers.
Oh.
Nami Toyota.
Okay. Excellent. New Japan. Do you watch New Japan?
I do.
Yeah?
Yep.
What do you think of that? New Japan.
Love it. Boyfriend works there.
Oh. So let's talk about your boyfriend then.
My boyfriend is TJP. I love him, and I'm actually like waiting on his schedule to figure out like when he has some stuff for New Japan coming up, because after that I can see. So that's how I feel about New Japan right now.
Excellent. And who's the best wrestler that you've worked with in the ring?
Ooh. Mercedes Martinez.
Why?
Because she's the GOAT. Because she is an amazing leader and teacher and someone that we should all look up to in wrestling, an incredible locker room leader, knows her stuff like no other female really that I've been around. So I definitely have so much respect for her. And I would put her up as like, she beat my ass and I'm happy about it.
Aria, thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy girl, and I really enjoy watching you in the ring. And let's hope that you sign with AEW or the NXT, or supposedly, like it says, the rumors. And
yeah, I don't know.
Let's see you back on the TV. And do you get you know? Have you? That's what I wanted to ask. You know, do you get nervous like talking as well? Because that's not something that it's hard to come by. Like some people have it, some people don't. Like MJF, he can just gets a microphone and talks. Was it difficult for you at the start, or you sort of picked it up pretty easily?
I think I picked it up pretty easily. I love doing pre-tapes and anything where they're speaking. In the ring too, so I don't get nervous about it. I love doing promos, and at first I think maybe got a little nerve-wracking, but like I did high school like news announcements and stuff, so I was used to speaking to a camera a little bit.
Right.
So that was cool. Like
yeah.
It wasn't as nerve-wracking as it is for some people, so I got off a little easy on that.
Right. And make sure that you put Australia on your list of places to come. And yeah, so you're at Instagram, so it's TheAriaBlake, TheAriaBlake, one word, on Cameo, on Patreon, on Facebook, and Twitter as well. I did notice as well.
Yeah, I'm TheAriaBlake, but I don't really use it that much. It's like Twitter's negative.
It seemed to gone away. It seemed to, you know, every Instagram and yeah. So lots of places that you can find Aria, and all the best for the future. And come back on when you're wrestling, and when you're wrestling every day on the TV. Come back on and let's talk again. All right.
For sure. Let's do it.
All right. No worries. Thanks for your time, Aria.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.